So it's an age-old question, isn't it? When you're just getting started, especially, how much can you earn as a delivery driver working with Uber Eats, Deliveroo, Just Eat, etc. For me, I feel like this is a quite difficult question to answer because it becomes reliant on quite a few factors as to what the answer is. The biggest factors for me are where you are delivering, what you're willing to accept, and what time of year it is, like what the weather's like. For example, if you're a new driver and you don't know, if you're not going out when it's raining, then you are definitely missing out on an opportunity. When it's raining, when the weather's bad, the pay is much better, let's put it that way. So at the moment we are entering the summer, and last week I feel like is a really good week to show people a kind of lower to mid end of what to expect when delivering. So last week I did 37 hours working. I worked every day, but some of the days just a few hours around what the kids were doing because my daughter still wasn't back at school at the time, so I was sort of working around her and our two youngest, which we've got twin 2-year-olds. So yeah, it's a bit of a meh time of year at the moment. So this is kind of this is a more realistic end of what to expect. So I've got my laptop out, which I'm looking at now. And what I'm going to do is flip over to the laptop in a sec and just show you kind of what you could expect on like a pretty average kind of week in the summer when there's less orders floating around and probably more people out working. So let's flip over to the laptop now. And also, before we flip over, one other thing I want to say is I have also tracked my expenses for this week, so it will be an indication of what profit you can make, not just the earnings. So then this is moving over to the laptop. This was on Monday. So as you can see, I hit all my targets on Monday. I made £93.88 in 6 hours. As I say, working around the children, so on none of the days I really worked particularly a lot of hours. Tuesday, as you can see, I only worked 2 hours, but made £38.09. Just going to click through these quite quickly. Wednesday was a particularly bad day. I was planning on working all day, but I think you might have seen my video before where I was saying that Wednesday was just terrific, just waiting around. Nothing went my way on Wednesday. Thursday, again, not too bad, but nothing to write home about. And then on Friday, as you can see, I made my target, but my hourly rate is fairly not the greatest, I want to say. And then Saturday again, kind of a meh day. That's where I've earned the majority of my money, 160 odd quid. But as you can see, I've driven a lot of miles. I think there's a new trend where Uber seems to be getting quite a lot of the orders at the moment in my city, which unfortunately is not the best because mileage-wise, I'm driving a lot more miles with Uber, let's put it that way. And I think when I show you my profit later, you might see how that reflects in a weekly profit margin. And then on Sunday, again, I probably should have worked more hours on Sunday. So on Sunday, what happened was, Liverpool won the league, didn't they? So yeah, I was a bit distracted. Really, I was planning on working a 10-hour day on Sunday. Sundays for me are always the best day to work. I can always make good money on a Sunday. But, yeah. So anyway, let's have a look at the weekly sheet. So as you can see, I did £202 and 12p on Deliveroo, £198.29 on Uber Eats, Just Eat 97.68. Again, I reflect back to something I said in previous videos, which is not quite sure why they're still doing the shift system on Just Eat, because they don't seem to offer very many orders while you're on shift, so the whole thing seems to be a bit crazy at the moment. Stuart, who do the Tesco Whoosh home deliveries and Co-op currently, I've got a feeling that they might not be doing it for that much longer, but I'm not 100% sure. 40 quid. And then other, which is my cash tips and a bit of YouTube income. I make a few quid out of YouTube, but not very much. So if you want to support me, like, comment, subscribe, watch a couple of the other videos. That really help. So my weekly target, £545. So I've made my weekly target, £556.35. Normally I want to do more, but I didn't really put in that many hours this week. 37 hours for me is not that many. At the moment, I'm always setting my target, my hourly target, for about 15 quid. Just because I think it's something that's achievable at the moment. Really, I feel like this needs to be closer to £20 to make a decent living. So when we hit the winter months, when there's a lot more volume about, that's the sort of mark that I'm trying to hit. But for now, I don't like to set targets that are completely unachievable. And as you can see, I've only just hit £15 now, £15.04. So coming back to Uber having a lot of the things you see here, I've travelled a lot of miles for that amount of money, 377 miles for £556 is quite a lot. My pay per mile target is £1.50. So for every mile that I drive, whether I've got an order or not got an order, I want to be making £1.50. As you can see, I've fallen slightly below that. Normally, up until the last couple of weeks when Uber's taken quite a lot more of the work, I was hitting above that. So yeah, you can see how Uber's affected that one for me. So let's look at my profit and loss for the week. So you'll see my gross hourly rate. So my hourly rate before I pay for anything, for fuel, insurance, telephone, depreciation on my vehicle, etc., is £15.04 per hour. But let's put the costs in and see where we come to. So as you can see here, I'm just using my cursor. Hopefully you can follow me up. So my fuel for the week, based on a fuel calculator I used online, is £49.89. Insurance depreciated over the year is £24.04 per week. So how I work that out is my annual policy is actually £1,650, roughly. But I take off about 400 quid, because that's how much a normal policy would cost me. So this is just the extra that it costs me to make deliveries. And I've divided that by 52 weeks to make it simple, to give me £24.04. So my true actual insurance cost is probably a little bit higher than that. But depreciated vehicle repairs over the year is £23.11 a week. I got to that figure based on basically putting all my garage bills for the year together and dividing by 52 again to give me £23.11 a week. Oh, sorry about that. I need to plug my laptop in, apparently. So phone and internet costs is £5. Professional subscription, which is my QuickBooks, which I use to calculate tax, £3. And then other costs, which is actually the depreciation of my vehicle, which is £19.23. So that means my costs for the week is actually £124. So my costs to make deliveries for this week, £124.27. So it's quite high, really, isn't it? So my total profit is £432.08. As I said, I worked 37 hours. That gives my actual per hour rate of £11.68 per hour. So you can see, actually, it's not massively worth it at the moment. The reason why it's worth it for me is because the flexibility. I would have struggled to work a full-time week this week around my children. So for me, it's given me the flexibility. And also, better weeks will pay for this week. So, yeah. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Is this a fair representation of what it actually looks like to be a delivery driver in 2025, especially in more lean weeks? But yeah, I'd love to hear your comments down below. Catch you in the next video. Cheers. Bye.